little bit softer. It's the dynamic range to be able to hold the scene really well is nice.
It's tough to beat digital for cheap and easy picture taking. So why is film photography enjoying a comeback?
By the end of the week, they're jumping. Go, big run!
A 5-time world champion jump roper is training the next generation, and they're already bringing home the gold. These stories and more next on CityStream. Welcome to CityStream from Kerry Park on the south slope of Queen Anne Hill. This has long been one of the most popular spots to snap a picture of the city, and it's the perfect setting for our first story. Hi, I'm Enrique Cerna. Film photography is making a comeback as people trade digital images for the old way of making pictures. But as producer Michael Crow explains, one thing remains the same. It's what you capture that matters most.
In a world that is increasingly digital, the disconnect of bits and bytes flying through space to bring us sounds and images, people want something real. Something they can hold in their hands.
Put Camera 400 black and white film in.
And for Joe Tobiasen, this is about as real as it gets.
I just always enjoyed film, and after college was moving to Peru to work for a nonprofit. So I bought a Minolta SRT 101 film camera for $25 on eBay. Just proceeded to try to shoot as much as I could while I lived there.
The rest is history. Roll after roll, he fell in love with photography and has kept that going through his adult life. From making film photos for clients on backcountry elopements and weddings to pictures of his kids as they grow up. Today, he's out with his son Nico.
Queen? You see a queen?
Yeah.
Where's the queen?
Yeah.
Where? Oh, the crane. Yes, you're totally right.
Working on an ongoing project exploring Seattle's relationship with the ocean and water.
I like film for a lot of reasons. I love the color of it. I think that color film has just a beautiful way of looking, that it's a little bit softer. It's the dynamic range to be able to hold the scene really well is nice. But I think what I like most about the process is that I am in control of so many steps of it. From like rolling the film, to putting it in the camera, to shooting the pictures, to then developing it myself, to scanning it myself, and then getting it ready for delivery, whatever form it is. Like, I get to touch every single level across the whole process, and that feels very personal in each one of those steps.
He's one of a growing number of people that has made the old new again, trading digital cameras for film, celluloid that has to be developed to see each picture, foregoing the instant feedback of modern cameras. Whether it's the control or that intentional slowdown, the process is part of the appeal.
Film is not dead. People have rediscovered film. People are shooting film. People want to make images from film.
Mary Fleener has noticed the surge of interest these past few years. She founded Panda Lab with Dana Drake in Seattle in 1983 and has been operating here in the shadow of the Space Needle since 1985.
Both Dana and I were photographers. We both had small children at the time we started. And the idea was that we would have more control over our lives while still leaving time for our families. Those families have grown up, but we still have the love of the business.
A business that has seen so much life pass through its doors. The recent moments and frames are draped all around the shop, and prints from some of the most famous images they've handled hang on the wall of the darkroom.
Look who we've got. We've got Bill Gates in the early years, and then next to him is Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. We got a lot of the presidents on this wall, from Richard Nixon to Bill Clinton. There's Marilyn Monroe. There's Johnny Cash. Jimi Hendrix. It's been an interesting journey for us, from being a little black and white lab with just this one space to where we are now.
Certainly some things have changed over the years. Now, most folks want digital scans of their negatives instead of the contact sheets. But the memories stay the same. as Mary transitions the business more to her daughter, Jessica.
Like literally my whole life. My mom has worked in a darkroom in some capacity. So she would hand me rolls of film to shoot as a kid. I have pictures of me with a camera as a kid. Lots of pictures of me as a kid because I grew up with a photographer for a mother.
The pictures have always been about family.
I want to show you something. This is part of the love. This is my mother.
And some just mean more.
In 1939, this is the original. And the photos that you take and keep make a history of your surroundings, your life, your passions, your loves. And it shares that in some way with other people. When people bring their copy work in, they're preserving their own family treasures. That I really love.
And those are being captured every day.
How is this boat from Vail, Colorado?
By photographers like Joe.
That doesn't make any sense.
Sharing time with their kids.
Do you see a yellow boat? Do you see which one has yellow in it?
Making memories.
That one. Good job. Hey, good job, bud.
And photographs.
So when I had kids, I wanted cameras that I could take pictures of the moment and be done with it. It helps us all to be a little bit more present and stuff. And it totally is just, it's nostalgia. Like it's what I look at the photos of them from their childhood, and it feels like a bit of my own childhood in it. And I don't know, it's cheesy, but it makes me happy, so.
Family memories preserved for generations to come.
But it also kind of makes it more fun to look back and be like, yeah, we took that photo together, bud. What do you see, dude? ¿Qué cosa ves? Mira, tiene esta cosa muy grande, ¿no?
Besides Panda Lab, there are several other film shops still operating in Seattle, and even more across the country that take mail orders to scan and deliver digital files. And if you'd like to try developing for yourself, the nonprofit Photographic Center Northwest offers darkroom rentals for both beginners and professionals. For more information, check out their website at pcnw.org. She's a world champ at this, and now she's teaching kids a few tricks and hopefully a lifelong passion for fitness. That's next as CityStream continues. Welcome back to CityStream. Several members of a West Seattle-based team placed first and third in the American Jump Rope National Championships last summer. Their coach is a 5-time world champion whose mission is to turn jump roping into a lifelong love for health and fitness. As Taravika Prikian explains, the jump rope is just a vessel for kids to learn important life skills.
Please give a round of applause to Jump Rope Camp Summer 2024. Ready, set, go. Big run.
As camp comes to a close, it's performance day for these elementary kids to showcase their new talents.
1, 2, ready, go.
From single rope jumps to double dutch and freestyle. Just 1 week at camp has turned these kids into little skippers.
And 1, 2, ready, go. You're out, bow and wave. Yeah. By the end of the week, they're jumping. You know, they're not perfect, but they're learning new skills, and there's enough variety in the camp because the way that you get better at jumping rope is through repetition. Ready, go. I tell the kids all the time, the more you do it, the better you get. And so we just try to find really creative ways to make it fun to practice. Don't take that first stutter jump, run and leave. Ready, go.
It's fitness made fun with a few life lessons thrown in between the turns.
When I was teaching, I was noticing that a lot of the kids were giving up really early. And I had to keep saying things like, well, mistakes are normal, it's okay. Go. Keep trying, it's all about trying. And I realized I was just sounding like a broken record. And so then I just decided that instead of saying it to each individual person, that I would really make that part of the curriculum. So I would talk about making mistakes. I would talk about comparing yourself to other people and that everybody learns at a different pace. And I would use examples and my own personal stories. When I did that, it changed the program.
The lessons are resonating with students like 9-year-old Keva Baman.
1, 2, ready, go, big jump.
She always says when you first do it, if you mess up, it means that you're improving, because if you never mess up, then you'll never learn.
And Renee's own personal story she ties into her coaching, well, those are made for the record books.
My name's Rene Bibaud. I'm a professional rope jumper. I've been jumping rope for 44 years. Performing, competing, coaching, teaching. I'm a 5-time world jump rope champion. I started jumping rope when I was 10 on a jump rope team called the Hot Dogs.
Yes, you heard that right. Rene Bibaud is a 5-time world champion jump roper. That's Rene on the Hot Dogs team with her beloved coach, Bob Melson.
And I had a really great coach who always knew how to kind of have the next thing that would get us excited, another trip, another competition. He always set us up for success. We lost him a couple years ago, and his impact has been huge. I mean, you asked any of the kids that worked under Coach Bob Melson, and they say how he impacted their lives.
She quickly fell in love with the sport of jump roping after joining the team and hasn't put down the rope since.
It's a creative outlet. It's something that you can do at your own individual pace. It's a full body workout. It's a great alternative to running. If it's raining outside, you can jump rope indoors and still get sort of that cardiovascular conditioning. And then all the jumping is really great for bone density and building up that bone density. So, I mean, it's just like, for me, I think it's the perfect cardiovascular exercise because it hits a lot of your major muscle groups.
A lot of people are real familiar.
While competing at World Championships, Bibaud began doing color commentary on jump roping for ESPN. Then, a special viewer who happened to be watching her on TV gave Rene a call that would transform her life.
I got a phone call back in late 1990s, somebody speaking French to me, asking if I wanted to be in the circus. And it turned out it was Gilles St. Croix from Cirque du Soleil. And I went and saw the show. I fell in love with it. I ran away and joined the circus.
She was asked to coach the acrobats on a jump rope number and also be a featured artist, performing with Cirque du Soleil.
I had very little exposure to the arts. I didn't know what Cirque du Soleil was. We were more a sport-oriented community, right? Baseball, basketball, football. It was odd enough that we were doing jump rope as a sport. Joining the circus and meeting other people who did odd, interesting, different things, and it was put to music and lighting and costume and makeup. I mean, it was like it was the whole nother dimension that I didn't even know existed. So I fell in love with it.
Bibaud is now the owner of RopeWorks, based in West Seattle. She's an educator, a motivational speaker, and entertainer with a focus on youth fitness and specialty performances.
You got it, girls.
This past summer, her advanced students placed in the American Jump Rope National Championships.
Nice.
See if that helps.
Now, those students help out at her summer camps, inspiring the younger kids to keep turning the ropes.
Yeah, I want them to come away with life skills.
Out, out, skier.
But for Bibaud, at the root of it all, it's personal, paying it forward in honor of her coach who sparked the love for jumping when she was this age.
I always thought, I want to return the favor. I don't know what that's going to look like, and I know I'm not doing it nearly as well as he ever did, but that's really my inspiration, is just trying to kind of give back, and it matters to me. Arms up. That's Jump Rope Camp Performance 2024. Thanks, everybody. You know, I really care about the kids that I work with. It was great to have you in camp. It feels good to do something positive in the world that you really love and enjoy, too. Oh, good. Thank you.
Rene Bibaud runs year-round workshops, including after-school programs, camps, and she also coaches kids and adults. To learn more about the sport or RopeWorks, check out learntojumprope.com. We're at the point in the show when we turn back the clock and explore a fascinating bit of Seattle history. In this installment, Julie Curson of the Seattle Municipal Archives explores the Cutlet Curfew.
In 1965, the Seattle Junior Chamber of Commerce led an effort to amend an old law that prohibited the sale of red meat after 6 p.m. in Seattle stores. The ordinance stated that a licensed meat salesman, meaning a butcher, must be on site for customers to make a purchase. Since butchers did not work past 6 o'clock, this meant no one could buy meat after that time. This was referred to as the cutlet curfew. The rule also applied all day on Sundays. The chamber collected over 15,000 signatures from citizens who agreed it was time for the law to be changed, and some media outlets joined the campaign as well. KO Radio ran 6 editorials encouraging the change. One of the spots noted that the existing ordinance was written in 1931 before modern refrigeration technology. Another editorial pointed out that it was possible to buy fresh fish and poultry, which they argued was more perishable than red meat, without a butcher being on hand, and called the law antiquated and ridiculous. KO also noted that in both Spokane and Tacoma, consumers could buy meat after 6 o'clock and asked, why is the city of Seattle so different? They summed up, we must concede that it surely takes a qualified butcher to cut and wrap your fresh meats properly, but it completely escapes us why it takes a butcher to sell that packaged meat. A collection of postcards addressed to Meat at KIRO Radio shows that KIRO had also been seeking opinions from the city's consumers. Some messages were simple, like, meat, yes. Other comments called the cutlet curfew the craziest law I've ever heard of, and another out-of-date law that serves to give the state of Washington a backward look. One writer declared that, my friends are crooks. They phone their butcher to put aside meat for after 6 pickup. Who ever heard of bootlegging meat except in Seattle? The director of public health was reluctant to amend the ordinance and in fact wanted to strengthen it to include poultry, rabbit, and fish. He pointed out that the original law was written because adulterated meat and meat from diseased animals had been being sold, and that the ordinance had done its job of keeping the meat supply safe. However, after the mayor also endorsed the change, he seemed to see the writing on the wall, and he recommended that a committee be appointed to write any amendments. The ordinance was indeed amended in April 1965 to allow the sale of prepackaged meats between 6 and 9 p.m.
Just ahead, recent sightings of lights in the night sky prompts the return of CityStream's most watched story ever. In the past few months, strange lights in the night sky prompted a flood of calls to authorities on the East Coast. Closer to home, CityStream aired a story in 2019 that would become the most watched video on our YouTube channel with nearly 5 million views. It delves into a subject that humans have pondered for millennia. Today, the search for truth continues. Felix Bonnell reports.
Unidentified flying objects, UFOs. For decades, people in the Pacific Northwest have seen things in the sky that they can't explain.
We saw this immense object in the field over there with lights that were spinning, and it was something we had never seen before. It took up most of this valley, and it was just hovering. It was just hovering, and we were mesmerized.
Gloria Bonacci and her friend Mary saw something too.
We were walking along, and all of a sudden we looked up and there was an object. It seemed to come out of nowhere. And of course we were scared and we ducked down in some tall grass behind a fence line. It was football shaped, it had red lights. All of a sudden it went up and horizontally it went toward the high bluff, and it just kind of went below the bluff and then seemed to just go really fast and be gone.
Susan and Gloria both live on Whidbey Island, not far from the Navy base. They don't know each other, but on separate occasions in the 1960s when they were kids, they say they saw something in the skies above the island that neither could identify. Whatever they saw, Whidbey Island resident and former NASA scientist Dick Haynes asked that you please not call them UFOs.
It begs the question, unidentified flying object. We don't know they're objects yet, right? Do they fly? Well, some do and some don't, right? And they're certainly unidentified, so we like the U part. So we say the UAP is a better way of presenting this idea. It's aerial, and it's a phenomenon, and that's all we know.
Haynes grew up near Seattle. He worked as a NASA scientist, and though he was skeptical about unidentified aerial phenomena, he eventually founded a group that collects anonymous reports from pilots.
I heard these stories from pilots that just blew me away, and they forced me to leave that hypothesis that it was all controlled variables and so forth. It was something totally different, and that's what got me started.
The Northwest has a long history of unidentified phenomena, and people around Seattle saw things before that more famous Roswell incident in New Mexico. A pilot named Ken Arnold famously coined the term flying saucer when he saw a group of silvery discs in the skies near Mount Rainier way back on June 24, 1947. And it was 3 days before that when something called the Maury Island incident took place on Puget Sound near Des Moines. Steve Edmiston, along with Scott Schaefer, made a film about it.
On June 21, a man named Harold Dahl, who has a 50-foot boat, he goes to a dock in Tacoma and he picks up 2 dock workers. He also brings his son Charles, also brings the family dog Sparky, and they're all on the boat and they go 3 miles and they're just off Maury Island when they see, allegedly, 6 flying discs. And they describe them as round and hollow like a donut. But then there's this explosion. And according to the accounts, the explosion is almost like a molten lava. They refer to it as slag. And it's pelting down, and it's right above the boat. Harold's son is burned badly on his arm. The boat's being badly damaged. So they are so frightened, they take that 50-foot boat, and they actually race it up on the beach on Maury Island to get off the boat and hide in cliffs that were there.
The objects flew away, and the men returned to Tacoma. They agreed not to tell anyone what they had seen. The next day, Edmiston says, a mysterious man, dressed all in black, showed up at Dahl's house. That man took Dahl to a diner where he encouraged Dahl to remain silent.
You shouldn't tell anyone else what you saw.
Dahl eventually claimed the whole incident was a hoax, but Steve Edmiston thinks Dahl was just tired of not being believed. What does Steve Edmiston believe?
This is not something to dismiss as a hoax. It at least belongs over here. If nothing else, it belongs over here with the Roswells and the other great stories.
Now to Burien, where the community has embraced the Maury Island incident and Steve and Scott's film and created an annual celebration inspired by what happened.
This is a BUFO, Burien UFO Festival. So anything can happen. Tonight in Burien, it's like aliens, everything. It's pretty much a day for the community to come out and celebrate their weirdness.
Well, I'm dressed up because I came to this show here before, a couple of years ago, and I love Burien. It's just one of my favorite little towns.
Though she's dressed in a funny costume, does Lorraine believe in UAPs?
I'm going to put it this way, I don't not believe. Okay, I would never not believe.
Back on Whidbey Island, what does Gloria Bonacci believe?
I suppose really before I saw this with my own eyes, I really didn't believe. But after I saw that, you know, I kind of think there probably is things that we don't know about.
Dick Haynes was one of the first people to take Gloria Bonacci and Susan Gonzalez seriously.
When I interviewed each of them separately, the 2 groups had never met, didn't know about each other's sightings, and asked them to draw a picture of what they saw, they were drawing pretty much the same object.
What does Susan Gonzalez believe?
We're not crazy, and this really did happen, and it really did happen on this little wonderful island. It's not craziness. They're here. They've been here a long time.
And what do you believe? Have you ever seen a UAP? Until there's scientific proof, it comes down to each of us to imagine the possibilities.
Now, if you see something in the sky that you can't explain, the National UFO Reporting Center, based near Spokane, is standing by to take your report. To contact them, just visit their website, nuforc.org. That's nuforc.org.
stop until my people are free. I can hear my neighbors crying, I can't breathe. No choice! No choice is a choice!
Man, just paying homage to the people that did it before us to get us where we are today, you know? Trying to keep the movement moving forward. This is my first time actually coming to the march and participating that way. It's big turnout, a lot more people than I thought are here, that are gonna be here. We're all in this together, and we gotta figure out a way to make it work together.
We have to stand up, we have to use our voice, we have to advocate, we have to stay strong together, and in unity, Black Lives Matter. That's why it's important for me to be able to do my part, and I'm here in solidarity.
After Martin Luther King, and want to make sure that we have human rights, civil rights, make sure that the future generations understand equality and peace and justice. His name is Justice, right? And so making sure that we go forward, you know, having equality, equity, and peace, you know what I'm saying?
Every year since I was born, I've been going here. It's human rights and Black Lives Matter. We will be here next year, in the year after that, and after that.
It's been difficult for 400 years, but we've always had hope, and we're still here, right? So we endure, right? And we keep pushing on.
Well, that wraps up this edition of CityStream from Kerry Park. If you'd like to see more outstanding Seattle Channel programs, go to our website, seattle.gov, and search for feature shows. I'm Enrique Cerna. Thanks for watching.